Hi, it's John Taffer from Bar Rescue. Did you know the second building in America was a tavern? When I built my new restaurant franchise concept, Taffer's Tavern, I thought back to the roots of what makes a tavern, timeless character, all while delivering an unbelievably delicious food and beverage experience. That paired with my 40-plus years in the industry provides a clear roadmap to success. Do you have what it takes to be a Taffer's Tavern franchisee? If so, I'd love to hear from you. Visit franchise.tafferstavern.com.
The new Hot Honey hand-breaded chicken sandwich at Hardee's. Hand-breaded chicken topped with crispy bacon, melty Swiss, and hot honey. It's honey with a kick. Go get it now at Hardee's.
Feed your happy. Available for a limited time at participating Hardee's restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wrestling Omakase. It is episode number 235. That emphasis will make no sense to any of you, but it is indeed episode number 235, and I am very pleased to be joined by a returning guest. Hello, John.
Hey, John. So glad to be back here on Omakase.
Yeah, John and John. We're supposed to have a third guest, or I guess a second guest. I'm not a guest. But he has the link. Maybe he'll make a run. I'm not going to say who it is and shame him in case he never appears. But we'll see. But we're here, of course, back on the free feed here. A little bit of a weird day. Recording here on a Thursday. I assume it'll probably go up either late Thursday or early Friday. But just kind of a weird schedule because of the way the G1 schedule worked out. The G1 kind of ending on a Wednesday, Thursday, and doing these Wednesday, Thursday shows with no weekend shows 2 weeks in a row. I just kind of did it that, just kind of worked out that way. Plus, I'm going to Philly for the New Japan, I don't remember what the fuck they're called. The Strong tapings. They have some wacky name for it. I don't remember what the hell they're called.
Oh, yeah. I was looking at tickets today. I thought those shows were a lot cheaper than they are.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
I got second row to both of them. I didn't do front row because the front row package for 2 nights, I was like, wow, I don't want to spend that much money on Strong. So, I mean, even the second row was like, wow, kind of a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of dropping like $50 for a ticket or something, getting an okay seat. And then they announced those tags that fill out the rest of the card.
Yeah.
And I just got back row right by the concessions.
There you go. But yeah, so we'll both be there. I'm for both shows or just for one of the shows?
I've got a ticket for Sunday. I might, if there's still standing room, I might grab Saturday. I think Saturday is a better up and down card, and Sunday's got a couple matches that peak really high.
To be honest, I really don't even know what the cards are besides that Moxley tag. I do not watch Strong every week. I mean, it's one of those things where I think after the G1 is over, I might try to start watching it. It's just like a time thing for me where you're watching all these G1 shows, you're covering the G1 in audio form every day. And that's, of course, we're going to plug that in a second. I've been doing everyday audio coverage of the G1 on the Patreon, plus the Noah and Woman that was going. And it's just like, how much time do I really want to, commit to wrestling? I have other interests, It's like, there's some people I feel like who watch literally everything. And I'm just like, I don't know how you do this. Like, I have a stay-at-home job at this point. I'm still a work-from-home person, so I have plenty of time to watch during the daytime. And it's just like I don't know. I watch lots of wrestling, but I don't watch every single thing. I don't watch every promotion at all times, the way it seems like some people do. And I guess it's just a matter of not having other interests. But I do have other interests, like the New York Rangers, who just scored the goal to tie it as I'm recording.
Woo!
All right.
Let's go.
Yeah, 2-2 now. They have looked alternatingly great and horrible to start the season in these last 2 days. But yeah, hockey season's back this week. It made a whole lot of AEW fans act like fucking piss babies in the last 24 hours because Dynamite, got preempted this week and next week for the NHL debuting on TNT. If you want to see a bunch of people who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, go find the WrestleNomics tweet, and WrestleNomics is great. Not this I'm talking about, but go find the WrestleNomics tweet where he gives the ratings for the NHL on TNT debut, and you can see like all these wrestling fans replying and quote tweeting with, "Whoa, why are they even giving the Wednesday night slot to the NHL when they can't do the kind of ratings AEW did?" They did like 890,000 and then like an 0.32 18 to 49, which isn't even that far below what AEW just did. They just did an 0.37. But like those are actually pretty good ratings for the NHL. These people seem to think like TNT's gonna be mad and be like, "Oh, we gotta rethink having the NHL on Wednesdays." It's like, no. The reason why you go out and get the NHL is because, first of all, the playoffs do pretty decent ratings, especially for cable nowadays. And the regular season is just kind of something you have to air, but the playoffs are especially October through December. When like the sports attention in America is very much taken up by football. I mean, they're airing it only at like 10 p.m. on Wednesdays after these first 2 weeks until January. That's not by accident, but the regular season is just something you have to get through, and then you get the playoffs, which is the actual reward of having the NHL package, where people do pay attention and tune in for the playoffs. But second of all, you get the NHL because it has one of the highest average incomes among any viewership in sports. It skews a little bit younger than some of the other sports too, and the ad rates you can get for are fucking massive. You know what doesn't do very good ad rates? Professional wrestling.
You mean people like me aren't buying all those products? You don't you don't say.
The luxury car, Lexus is not advertising their luxury cars like they did 5,000 times during the NHL broadcast yesterday. But yeah, I mean, it is just like, okay, if you don't understand anything about television, I guess those are the people who are tweeting and quote tweeting and replying, because it's like, yeah, that's why you get the NHL for prestige. Also, I mean, that's another big reason why TNT went out and got it. It's like they can go and say, oh, we have the NBA and the NHL to go with MLB on TBS. But I mean, you can love AEW all you want, and I like AEW. I watch the show every week now, but it just a 2-year-old professional wrestling league does not have the same prestige as the NHL does. I don't know what to tell you.
I also think a couple Wednesdays off benefits them. It helps me. It also, in this instance, it really helped me. My girlfriend flew out of town today for a weekend in Montana, and last night was her last night in town. And she goes, "Well, I'm going to be gone all week, but I guess you can't come out and do anything with me Wednesday because it's AEW." And I said, "Baby, I'm skipping Dynamite tonight. You and me." Are you kidding me?
Did you really work her?
I worked there.
You didn't tell her that.
My girlfriend's a dumb mark.
Wow, buddy. I don't know if I can be bragging about that on the air. This is a free episode. She couldn't listen to it somehow.
Imagine my girlfriend going, "You know what? I'll listen to two nights of G1 coverage to see how John did." Yeah.
You never know, buddy.
Well, sorry, Lindsay. I don't think you're a dumb mark.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, some of the people who are commenting on this don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But yeah, it's been great having NHL back. I'm a huge hockey fan. It's always probably gonna be my first and biggest love for legitimate competition, and I'm very excited about the season. Just having it on like actual networks instead of the weird NBC closed garden that's been in for the last 15 years where they're exclusive to NBC and NBCSN, a network nobody watches, was really kind of fun. It's like, oh, we're back on ESPN and TNT now. This is kind of cool. I mean, we're on TNT for the first time ever and back on ESPN. And, they ESPN especially, they just like, everything they do is so slick, right? Like the graphics are so slick, and the presentation is so slick, and it really just feels like you're in the big time again when you're back on that network. For all the other things that suck about ESPN, at least it does feel a lot bigger than being on NBC fucking Sports Network.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking as a basketball fan, I'll watch a game I'm not interested at all for the ESPN presentation. I'm so far removed from hockey these days. I've been like shocked at what networks the NHL is on. Like I couldn't, was it like a FSN or like 8, the Ocho or whatever.
Well, they're on ESPN Plus a lot now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But before that, were they just on like, they weren't on any like real channels for a while, right?
Well, they were on. So 2006, after the lockout, they did the infamous move to OLN, the Outdoor Life Network.
Ooh.
When ESPN did not want them anymore. And pretty much the way that worked out was, so they went to NBC as their broadcast partner and Outdoor Life Network as their cable partner, which Charles Barkley made a joke about when he came on the NHL on TNT coverage yesterday, which he was great, by the way. He was awesome on the NHL on TNT, and because he's a real hockey fan, like he fucking loves hockey. So like I remember during Inside the NBA a few years ago, like he was talking about how like sick of basketball he was and how much he would rather be watching all the playoff hockey. And it was like, and the other guys were giving him shit for it. It was like, why don't you watch the games you're being paid to watch? And he was like, I got 2 eyes. And he was like, implying he can watch them both. But yeah, he loves playoffs. He loves the hockey playoffs especially. And so he showed up to like basically welcome them to TNT. Apparently he's like really good friends with Wayne Gretzky. And he was like one of the most instrumental people, I guess, in bringing Gretzky to TNT. It was like calling him nonstop or something.
Charles Barkley brought Wayne Gretzky to TNT?
That's apparently what happened.
What he was like, this man do?
Calling him every day, apparently.
Imagine getting calls every day from Charles Barkley.
Yeah, this must be great. Like, oh, you want to bet? Probably tell him about a great betting opportunity or something. Oh,
yes. Imagine gambling with Wayne Gretzky and Charles Barkley. The great equalizer.
The great equalizer. But yeah, so I don't remember what I was saying now. Oh, so Charles Barkley basically was making the joke about how he's like, oh, I'm rich. I didn't even have that network. He's like, it's funny you guys are on real network. It's good that you guys are on real networks now. Basically, what he said. But yeah, the Outdoor Life Network, it was basically Comcast Network, and it turned into Versus, which was what they called it for a while. Which so that was their national cable partner. And I remember when I had DirecTV at the time, and they just dropped it. I didn't have the national games for like half a season. That was great. Although I got free center ice out of that, the out of market package, which was funny. Nice. But yeah, because I called and complained, and they were like, "All right, we'll give you the center ice for free." But yeah, so they were Versus from like I guess like 2007, and then Comcast bought NBC, so they rebranded Versus as NBCSN. So
that's what I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, so they've been on NBC and NBCSN since 2011. They had it was like a 10-year exclusive deal that the National Hockey League has regretted every day since they made the deal, because they basically just missed where the TV rights went insane. And even for the amount of the ratings they draw, which obviously is not in the same ballpark as the other major sports leagues, they end up signing a $410 million per year contract with ESPN, and just for one half of their package, and then a $225 million contract with TNT for the other half. So, still made plenty of money, that's for sure.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, it's great to have it on actual networks, I guess is where I'm going with this. And the present, like NBC, they never, I don't know what it was. I don't know why they had the sport that they clearly didn't give a fuck about, but like they never put any effort into it. It never felt like they gave a shit. The intermissions, especially anything studio coverage involving NBC, was like watching fucking paint dry. It was horrible. And, just like 2 seconds of being on ESPN and TNT, it's like, oh, okay, these people actually know how to cover a sport, I guess. I don't know what else to say. Like, they actually know what they're doing here. So, that's what it was like in the first couple of days of the new season. So, definitely exciting to have these new TV partners. And the AEW nerds can stay mad about it, I guess. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, screw you, nerds.
But yeah, anything going on with you? What have you been into this week other than lying to your girlfriend?
Oh, well, that takes up a lot of my time. But I filled the rest out with I don't know, a whole lot of nothing. I've been watching, this month's been exhausting because I don't have a podcast and I still keep watching all these G1 shows, and I just don't know what I'm doing. It worked out, I guess, because now I'm on a podcast and I can talk about the G1 like I've watched the whole thing. But I watched the whole N1, I watched the whole G1. I went to 2 AEW shows, and I feel like a psychopath.
Oh, you went to the Philly show too?
I went to Philly also, yeah.
What was so? I assume you also went to. I mean, obviously went to Philly. You live in Philly. You went to the Grand Slam, or did you go to the one in Newark?
I went to Grand Slam.
Okay, yeah, I went to Grand Slam too. I didn't go to Newark because I wasn't, I wasn't in the tri-state area at the time. I was up in well, I guess I was technically in New York, but they no longer consider it the tri-state area when you're up in Buffalo. So, but yeah, I don't. So I mean, how was the Philly? I don't. Even, what the fuck was on the Philly show? I don't remember.
Oh, that's a great question. It had the 8-man tag was the opener.
Oh, was it the ladder match when Hangman came back?
The ladder match, right? The Hangman return.
So it was last week's show.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I also went to MLW too, so I'm dying. I don't know why I did that.
It seems like that would be a cool moment to be there for Paige returning.
It was, yeah, but we talked ourselves into. We saw a bunch of signs for Jay White.
Oh, you talked yourself into Jay White.
Like I was like, "There's no way it's Jay White. They're not going to end the show with the surprise being Jay White." And then I saw signs, and I was like, "What the hell did these people know?" And then I talked myself into it being Jay White, and somehow I was bummed out by it being Hangman, which would have been a very cool moment.
Yeah,
it still was. That match was great too, and I don't even remember. Oh, I got Punk and Daniel Garcia. That was fun.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Wow, so that's cool. I mean, I went to a bunch of stuff lately too because I went to the Dynamite Grand Slam obviously, and then I went to the Suzuki versus Homicide GCW show like 2 days later. Which that was so awesome. I mean, I had such a fun time at that show. I honestly wanted to go to the GCW in Atlantic City, but from this past weekend. But
I know I was laughing at how much you were talking up GCW. It was so funny because I know you don't really watch it, and you went to that show, and I was listening, and you'd be like, "Jordan Oliver's fine. These shows are great. I love."
I really had a great time there. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just it probably was like a better than average. Everybody I know said it was a better than average GCW show, but it just had that like, I'm someone that's lived through, peak Ring of Honor. I lived through, what people would consider peak Chikara. And I was there for a lot of those shows, and it had that kind of vibe to me. Like this, it felt like a place where the fans were just excited to be there, and having that kind of energy where the fans think they're watching something really special. It really can elevate it can elevate anything, so.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And have you gone back by chance and watched Homicide Suzuki like on tape?
No, I haven't done it yet.
You know how I know that show must have been great to attend? The way in the Slack you and Taylor were talking up that match. I thought I was about to watch a fucking all-time classic. But I could tell that in the room it was wild as hell. But
it didn't work on tape.
It was still good. In fact, if I hadn't heard the hype from people in the room, I probably would have been like, "That was a really good match."
Well, I gave it 4 1/4. I didn't give it 5 stars, but
I mean, Homicide in rounding for Homicide, that's 7 stars. In 2021, I love Homicide. Homicide's like one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So I was like stoked. I was like, young Homicide's back for one night to wrestle Suzuki. It was still great though.
But yeah, it was just a great live. I mean, it really felt. It was the closest thing I've ever seen to like being there for Joe Kobashi, where like you had that same kind of vibe where like, everybody was just into it the moment the bell, like before the bell even rang, everybody was like, "We're here to see something special," and we're in awe of this moment, and the Japanese legend against the American indie legend just had that very similar vibe.
For sure.
Even though the match itself was nowhere near as good, obviously. But.
Right. Well, it's funny. I don't know. This might be a spoiler for people. Who knows? I don't know when MLW airs anything, but I was at Grand Slam when Homicide came out, and I was at 2 ROH tapings with Homicide there, and then the next thing I went to was the MLW taping, and there's going to be a match if anyone watches this shit. There's going to be a match where the new Conan group, I forget what they're called. They have a surprise 4th member to go against Lowe's Parks, or 3rd member, and it ends up being Homicide. And I was like, this motherfucker's following me. He's the surprise entrant every show I go to. In fact, the AEW ladder match, I was like, I bet it's just Homicide. it's always fucking Homicide.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, so I guess I was, I like that show enough that I consider going to the GCW shows in Atlantic City. I probably would have gone if I wasn't going to Philly this weekend already, it was just too much 2 weekends back to back, but I already got my plans for Philly. We're driving down on Saturday. We're staying in a Days Inn across the border in New Jersey. So
okay,
this Days Inn has a suite where it apparently has a hot tub. I'm very skeptical that a Days Inn has a hot tub in it, but we'll see.
Wait. Oh, I thought you meant at first in the room.
In the room, yeah.
Oh, you're staying at a Days Inn in Jersey in a suite with a hot tub in it?
That's what it says.
Just skip the show.
The room is only $150 for the night, even with you after all the fees and taxes. So I don't know, because all the hotels I was looking at, this is still only 10 minutes from the venue, because South Philly. I mean, it's basically New Jersey's right there. But all the hotels I was looking at in Philly proper, they wanted $300 just for the basic room for that Saturday night. So I found this thing and I'm like, okay, let's see what a Days Inn suite with a hot tub is like. I'm sure it's going to be horrible, but it's only one night anyway. So
I don't know. No, sounds pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so we're doing Saturday and Sunday. Because originally we're like, oh, we can drive back and forth. I'm like, why the fuck would we do that? Doesn't make any sense.
No,
it's
we're
not. I mean, well, I guess my friend probably meant drive back and forth from New Jersey where he is, but that's still an hour and a half. It's why would you want to drive all the way back? An hour and 15, hour and a half. Why would you want to drive all the way back and then drive back there the next day? And then it just seemed like it made no fucking sense to me. So I talked him into the hotel room.
Yeah, you're gonna have a way better Sunday. You're gonna soak in the tub all day.
Yeah,
and you're gonna be looking fresh, ready to go for Sunday for all those 8-man tags with a bunch of guys I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't watch Strong.
I don't watch Strong either, so we're both gonna be confused. But I'm excited for the Suzuki and Archer versus Moxley and Kingston match. That should be awesome.
I am too. It'll be cool to get Moxley and Suzuki. Was Moxley? I mean, was Suzuki there last time they were in Philly? I don't remember. Suzuki wasn't.
I want to say
on that
no.
tour, right?
Yeah, I want to say no.
All right, be cool to get Suzuki nice and up close like that.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. I'm gonna have a good time. But then I think after that, I'm going to the Dynamite on December 8th. I think it is in UBS Arena, which is also very close to my house, just like the last venue. They keep running right by my house.
That's tight.
UBS Arena is 20 minutes, I think. So, not that I'm going to become, that's the new home of the Islanders. So it'll also be cool to go see the Rangers hopefully beat them. Probably lose to them the way the two teams have been playing each other lately. But yeah, it's really, really close to my house, to where I live in Throgs Neck. So I'm definitely excited to see,
you're pretty much
Dynamite.
You're a Dynamite deadhead now.
I guess so. I mean, I'm not going. I mean, it's very close to my. I haven't left my general area to go to AEW yet. I mean, both these shows I went to are the other show too was 20 minutes from my house too.
Right.
And Grand Slam. So I haven't gone that far for them yet. I didn't go to Philly for them, obviously, which I am going to Philly for New Japan. But part of that's if they were running Philly for a pay-per-view, I would probably go. But to go on a Wednesday night for a Dynamite, just seems kind of annoying. So
yeah, it was a joy for me. I have a subway stop at my corner, and there's a subway stop right outside the door of the venue. I barely had to be outside to go to that show.
Yeah. But I'll go to Dynamite if it's close. I mean, I probably would have gone to that Newark show if I didn't have vacation plans for that week already.
That Dynamite kind of stunk though, didn't it?
I heard it sucked. I guess did I watch it? I think I watched it from a hot tub. Or a hot tub.
What's with you?
We had a hot tub in the room in the Seneca Allegheny Resort and Casino in upstate New York. So been living the hot tub life lately.
Kicks ass.
I do like hot tub. We don't have our bathtub in our apartment here is so tiny, so I can never take a bath. So it's this is a big deal for me. It's just having a large bathtub. But I mean, being a hot tub is even better.
We have a clawfoot here, and I hate it. A clawfoot tub.
I don't know what that means.
It's one of those old style tubs that has the legs on it. I don't know how else to. Well, I don't know. The short version is it sucks. You got to buy a weird curtain for it. I'm not really a bath guy. I don't know. I guess this doesn't really matter. I don't know if anyone really wants to hear about my bathtub. But if they do, we could take it to the Patreon.
Okay. But yeah, I forgot what I was saying now. Yes, I guess I watched that show from the hot tub, the New Jersey Dynamite. I don't remember anything about it though. So, actually, I'm gonna. That's a lie. I remember Rosario Dawson and Aleister Black getting in a brawl.
Oh,
That's
right.
the only thing I remember from that show.
Yeah, Dynamite did suck.
I don't remember anything else from that show. But yeah, so that is our off-topic conversation that went 24 minutes. I guess some of that was wrestling, actually.
We got some wrestling in there, yeah.
Yeah. So before we get into these two New Japan shows, I just want to let you know, of course, if you're a patron, this is your second episode of the week. You got 2 episodes this week. This past Monday, we did the Wrestling Omakase full episode exclusive to the Patreon with myself and special guest Haley. And we discussed another night of the G1, I believe night 13, plus Tokyo Joshi Wrestle Princess 2. Plus, we did a lot of off-topic banter on Revolutionary Girl Utena, which is a 1997 anime series we just completed. We did like 25 minutes, I think, just on Utena. So she and I had a good time talking about that show. A really fucked up, really incredibly strange show. If you really want to watch a show that's like incredibly vague, doesn't explain anything, and has a lot of incest, boy, you'll love Utena. That's all I can.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. I'll give it a shot. I'm not really an anime person, but I just binged everything that ever came out from Evangelion.
Oh yeah. You know what? Did you like Evangelion?
Yeah, well, I watched the whole fucking run and the movies in like 8 days. So yeah, I guess I must have liked it.
You should watch Utena. I'm not even kidding. Like it's really, really similar. It's sort of like the girls' version of Evangelion. Like it's the same.
Like Girls, the HBO show.
It's like the show, because shoujo is like what they call anime manga for girls. It's like the shoujo Evangelion. I mean, okay. It is. It makes no fucking sense sometimes. It deals almost entirely in like allegories and like metaphors and all that kind of stuff, and like they don't give a fuck if you understand what's going on. They don't give a fuck if you think it makes sense. They just fucking plow through. It really reminded me of watching Evangelion. Like the vibes are very similar. So
Evangelion made me a miserable person to be around. Will Utena do the same thing? Because if so, I'll definitely watch it.
It might. It is really fucked up. I mean, they really it's something. That's all I'm gonna say. You should watch. I love the show. But you need to be a certain type of person to enjoy it, and it sounds like you're that type of person if you felt that way about Evangelion. So, well,
I'll tell you what, my girlfriend's out of town for 3 more days, and much like wrestling, if I'm gonna watch this shit, I should probably do it before she gets back.
Got to get yourself a Funimation login, I guess, or look for it illegally. I think those are the 2 options.
All right, illegally it is.
Well, Funimation's like $7.
I keep saying it's just $7 to everything I sign up for. That's the problem.
Well, you can watch it and then get rid of it.
I keep saying I'll get rid of it to everything I sign up for. That's the problem.
There you go. But yeah, so on the Patreon, that's what this was. There's a Patreon plug. On the Patreon, you can listen to Haley and I discuss Utena in great detail. Plus, like I said, the G1 that night, the G1 and the Tokyo Joshi Wrestle Princess show. Every single night of the G1 that we did not cover on a free episode, which is almost all of them, you can hear me talk about them on Patreon, either with a guest or just by myself. So it is patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. The link, of course, is in the episode description as well. It is only $5 to sign up. It's dirt cheap for all that G1 audio. Next week's episode will be coming out next Thursday, so a week from today as I'm recording this, and that will have the last 2 nights of the G1. So the finals will only be on the Patreon. So if you want to hear me talk about the G1 finals, if you want to hear me talk about the second to last night, and actually all 3 of the shows next week will be Patreon exclusive. It'll just be the last 2 nights will be on the actual episode. The other one will be on a tournament audio. But yeah, if you want to hear me talk about the last 3 nights of the G1, the only place to do it will be the Patreon. So if you sign up for $5, you can hear me talk about the last 3 nights of the G1. If you don't sign up, you will never hear it. So there you go. And if you're looking for DDT coverage, we'll be doing the same thing we did for the G1. We cover every night of the DDT DO, which is coming up. It kicks off, I think, November 1st. So no rest for me at all. It just goes, I guess I do get like 2 weeks off, and I go right from daily coverage of the G1 to daily coverage of the DO. After that, the World Tag League and the Best of Super Juniors will start, and it's like,
Are you doing those daily?
Yeah. Of course. Did it last year too. I am a machine. Okay, so people want to hear daily audio, they will sign up for the $5, and they'll get all the daily audio they can handle.
Are they doing World Tag League and Best of Super Juniors in one tour again?
Yeah, they're doing it on one tour again. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. If you just did World Tag League, then
I enjoyed it last year.
That's the hustle.
I enjoyed it last year. I thought it was good.
I bailed on that whole thing.
Yeah, I thought it was good last year. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, again, patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. All your tournament coverage for the rest of the year, all on the Patreon. So definitely check that out. But we are going to talk about 2 nights of the G1 for free here. So we're going to start out with G1 night 15, which was from the A block yesterday, Wednesday, October 13th, from Sendai, the second of 2 straight nights in Sendai. The show opened up with a non-tournament match, Hiromu Takahashi defeating Kosei Fujita in 7:46 with a Boston Crab. So this, the day before they did Hiromu against Oiwa, and I did not think this one was nearly as fun. Hiromu really chopped the crap out of Oiwa. He chopped the crap out of Fujita too, but I thought he really laid it into Oiwa even more. Maybe Oiwa just pissed him off or something. I don't know. But, this wasn't quite as fun. It was still more fun than a lot of the Young Lion matches have been on this tour, though. So, I went 3 stars on this. It was fine. Better, like I said, than a lot of these Young Lion matches on this tour have been.
Yeah, this match is where I realized what an undertaking coming on the pod was going to be, because A block shows, I've been skipping the Young Lion matches. I'd been skipping the Yano matches. So this is the first time I watched a Young Lion match on the tour. And I usually try and keep tabs on Young Lions. It's just, I'm watching a whole G1. Skipping anything is a joy. Mm-hmm. But this was a lot of fun. Love getting to watch Hiromu do anything. If you want to sucker me into liking a match, just chop each other the whole time. So yeah, this was cool. I don't really have a grasp on these 2 Young Lions who've been on the tour, and I especially really don't after this match. It was just abuse from Hiromu, but I like abuse from Hiromu, so 3, 2 3/4 or 3 stars, something like that. It was fun enough.
Match number 2, the special singles match, the non-tournament A block match. Of course, we're supposed to get Kota Ibushi and Tetsuya Naito on this show. Which, gonna weep for that one, because who knows what crazy shit they would have done together. But Ibushi instead beat Satoshi Kojima in 14:56 with the Kamigoe. I thought this was pretty boring early on, just pretty slow with not much going on. It did pick up, though, with some hard striking from both guys. They did finally get the crowd into it, too. Was into it as a clap crowd can be. And then Kojima drops Ibushi with the DDT on the apron. Just as we got the 10-minute call, Ibushi came back with his sit-out powerbomb back on the ring for a 2 count. He tried with the Kamigoe. Kojima was able to pull him up into sort of a full Nelson hold, but then he spun out of it into a Koji cutter. Now, the transition from the full Nelson into the Koji cutter was a bit awkward and strange. It was very weird looking, but the actual Koji cutter was great, as it always is. And then he followed up with a brainbuster for a 2 count, so that was kind of cool. I know that's one of his signature moves, but he doesn't hit it that often anymore. And it was oh, maybe he's really going to beat him here. Ibushi, obviously he wasn't going to, but in the moment, Ibushi blocked a lariat from the right side. He ate one, though, from the left for another close near fall. And they did this pretty great lariat clashing spot where Kojima put Ibushi down, but Ibushi ended up turning another lariat attempt into a sort of not very impactful half Nelson suplex. And then he hit the big step-up knee and the Kamigoe for the pin. I thought that, like I said, started out slow, turned into a damn good match by the end. Although I thought the final part of that closing stretch could have been executed a little better, especially the weird transition into the Koji cutter and the weirdly non-impactful half Nelson suplex. But I still went 3.5. It was good. Maybe expected a little better. I don't know. I mean, it's always hard to know with the dads, but
Yeah, I these matches, these filler matches for replacement matches for Naito not being there. Some of them I've really loved more than some of them have been my favorite matches on the shows they're on.
yeah, there's been a couple.
This one's not. Oh, it was almost one of them. The main event pulled through huge, but and I don't know if it's just like that it's nice to see a new face or that Kojima only has to wrestle one night and everyone's got to do 10. Or however many, but I thought this was great. I thought it moved quick. Kojima greatest hits. Watching Kojima go up for a golden bomb is cool. I really like this. 3 3/4. Also, just a side note, I love Satoshi Kojima's elbow drop so much. I always say that if someone were to do a flying elbow drop in an actual bar fight, it would look like Satoshi Kojima.
That's pretty great. Match number 3, our first tournament match of the night. Tomohiro Ishii defeats Yujiro Takahashi in 17 minutes exactly with the vertical drop brainbuster. So that brings Ishii to 5-3 and drops Yujiro down to 2-6. This seemed to be one of the matches of the night that I was very much not in line with grapple force when I saw it, but I thought this was great. Yujiro, he jumped Ishii as soon as he got in the ring. He put him down with a shoulder block at the bell. They brawled around ringside with Yujiro using his pimp stick. I like how Kevin Kelly always just calls it a walking stick. It's a pimp stick, sir. He's a pimp. That's his whole thing. I remember when Zach walked. Did you remember when Zach walked up to Kevin Kelly and said, "A pimp in this day and age"?
Oh,
a pimp.
I love that whole match. That was great, though. Yeah.
But yeah, so he used the pimp stick on him as Peter distracts the ref. They got into doing a lot of the typical spots you'd expect, some big lariats from both guys. And then Yujiro, okay, he completely fucked up the buckle bomb.
Yep.
But it was one of those bot spots that looks way more dangerous and cool than the intended one. So it worked anyway, because like he basically missed the turnbuckle pad almost entirely, except like the very top of Ishii's head hit like the very bottom of the pad, which must have sucked. And like the rest of his head and his body just crashed into like the hardest part of the ring. As they always say. Wow, that looked like it sucked. And then Yujiro followed up with the Miami Shine for a near fall. He hit the pimp juice on Ishii, but since that's no longer his finisher, Ishii kicked out. Ishii then reversed. What were you going to say?
I was just laughing at that. I love that when someone changes their finisher, the old finisher suddenly sucks and doesn't hurt anybody. Yeah,
it doesn't kill any. It doesn't beat anybody now. Well, for Yujiro, it works anyway because his old finisher never beat anybody to begin with.
That's true.
Did not need an excuse for Ishii not to pin people with any move. Ishii reverses an attempt at the big juice into a German suplex, and then Yujiro though no sells it. He runs right into an Ishii lariat though, and then Ishii puts him down with a brainbuster for the pin. I thought it was pretty great. I thought it was all action. I thought this was one of Yujiro's best matches of the tournament, and apparently nobody else agreed with me. I went 3 3/4 here.
I think on Joe's daily stuff he gave it 3 3/4 too, and I wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't vibing, and I'm usually high floor for Ishii matches, and I've been weirdly into Yujiro in this tournament. I thought Yujiro Zach, like I said before, was like a really, really good match. I don't know what it was. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood. I thought like Yujiro getting up and no selling shit like Ishii just like felt dumb. And that's the thing. Like Yujiro's got like so many moves that are prefaced with the word pimp now that usually when it gets to bomb throwing, he has so many like signature spots. I'm into it, but I wasn't vibing. But my favorite part of the match was when Peter is do I just say Peter or Piet?
I think it's Peter. You always just say Peter. So
when she's dancing in the beginning, Kevin Kelly, who I felt like was kind of loopy on this show, just goes, "The lovely Peter with her interpretive dance, telling the fans in Sendai and all around the world exactly how Yujiro will win." It's like, this man's been by himself for too long. He needs somebody to talk to.
Interpretive dance.
And then later on, when Peter's distracting Ishii, he goes, "The feminine wiles of Peter. Stay away from her. She's a..." And then he pauses for a while and he goes, stunning woman. I remember that way more than the match. I also I get what you're saying about the buckle bomb. And I think I would feel the same way if Ishii had a neck. It just looked like it didn't look like it hurt his neck, because nothing looks like it hurt his neck. It just looked like a 2x4 bouncing off the wall. So I thought it still looked shitty, but I normally get what you mean when a botch looks better than the real move does. I thought the closing stretch was a lot of fun, and it was all bombs, and I'm a sucker for that. So 3 1/4.
There you go. Match number 4 was Kenta defeating Tonga Loa in 22-12 with a schoolboy. So Kenta goes to 6-2, and Tonga Loa goes to 2-6. Another match no one agreed with me on. So Kenta stalls to start. He repeatedly rolls in and out of the ring every time Tonga chases him. I've learned over the years that heel stalling annoys everyone else on the planet Earth way more than it annoys me. I don't know what it is, but like I don't really care, and like everybody else freaks the fuck out about it. It does not bother me at all. It's just gimmick. He stalls. I mean, this is maybe something I just have to tell myself to be a Naito fan, because he used to do it a lot. He still does it a little bit.
See, I love it when Naito does it, and I usually love it when Kenta does it. And the reason I hated it in this match is because normally when the heel is stalling, it's because you're anticipating what comes next. But it's really an uphill battle in the first place to get me to give a shit about your match with Tonga Loa. So I like, let's just fucking do it. Which I guess is the point, but it didn't. Normally I'm like, yeah, that's cool. He's being a dick, but I hated it this time.
So there was some fun action once they got past the stalling, including very hard kicks from Kenta, of course. Just before the 20-minute call, Tonga nearly charged right into the ref. He stopped himself. Kenta, of course, just throws himself into Tonga's back to make sure he hit the ref after all. Kenta low blows him. He kicks the middle rope up into Jato's crotch when he tries to get in the ring to complain. He steals Jato's kendo stick while continually apologizing, since they're all in Bullet Club together, which I thought was really funny. He then did the old Eddie Guerrero thing when the ref got back up. He collapsed to the mat and dropped the stick like he'd just been hit by it. I don't know why people in New Japan do that, because the refs never call for DQs in this company. So I'm always just like, what was the point of pretending you got hit by something when the refs never, like, it's never worked.
And they do it so frequently now.
Yeah, it's weird. Very bizarre. But yeah, so, you know, he then jumps back up. He goes to hit Tonga with the stick while the ref is getting Jado out of the ring, but Tonga stops him with his own low blow, which is funny because he hasn't really been cheating at all in this G1, him or Tama. But I guess he's just like, well, motherfucker, you want to hit me in the nuts? I'm going to hit you in the nuts back. He went for the big power bomb. Kenta escaped with punches, tried for an inside cradle. Tonga blocked it and powered him up all the way into like a suplex position. That looked really cool. But Kenta escaped the suplex. He ran him into the corner turnbuckle pad, and then he schoolboyed him with his feet on the ropes, and that got the pin. You know, at times, my thing with this is like the Kenta. I've talked about this a lot behind the Patreon too. The Kenta cheating stuff almost feels unnecessary at this point, because it's like his actual in-ring, like, okay, when he came back at first, I got it, because he did look a step slow and looked like he couldn't hang really in New Japan anymore. So it's like, okay, I get why he relied so much on the cheating. In this G1, I thought he looked great. I don't know if the time off back in America helped him that much or whatever, but he looks like he's keeping up with everybody great. His kicks look better than ever. He just like the actual in-ring action like is as good as it's been for him in the company. It almost feels like he's too good now to be doing this cheating shit. He doesn't need this shit anymore. But he still does it, obviously. So what can you do? I thought this was good. I had fun with it, even though it did kind of drag at times, all the stalling at the start. But the cheating stuff is what it is. I went 3.5, apparently higher than anybody else on Earth went in this match. I liked it. So,
hey, I get it. I gave Chase Owens and Sonata 3 3/4. We all have our crosses to bear. But with this match, well, here's the thing too. I don't know if Kenta like got his win back or sped up or caught up to anybody. I think Kenta got smarter, and I think now when Kenta stalls a match, it looks intentional and it doesn't look like he's falling behind. And I say that as someone who really enjoys Kenta's work of late, even if the ceiling on it's lower than it used to be, obviously. In this, like I said, and also both these guys are coming off a match on their prior show that I loved. Kenta and Zach was one of my favorite matches of the whole tournament. And Kenta cheating in this tournament, I've mostly enjoyed because I think Kenta's really funny. And
Yeah,
at the
he is
end
hilarious. He is fucking hilarious.
he's super funny. And at the end of this match, all that shit you were talking about, where he's like, "I'm sorry, T, I'm sorry." I thought that was all really funny.
And they forgave him, which was the funniest part.
That's in my notes. He's like torturing their balls for the last 3 minutes of the match, and they're like, "Good one." That was smart, the way you punished our nuts.
It sort of calls back because remember, Tamatanga helped bring him in supposedly, and like remember Kenta turned involving Tamatanga, so like they've been close or whatever. So it kind of makes sense that his brother would be like, "Yeah, whatever, we love you, buddy." So it does kind of make sense from that aspect. The aspect where it doesn't quite make sense, of course, is like you said, this man kicked you both in the balls. So maybe that part doesn't make as much sense.
Just smush your testes for the last couple minutes. And but you said the most salient point I can make, you mentioned, and that's when the 20-minute call happened. I have no fucking idea why Kenta Tongaloa went past 20. 2 stars. And I love him. I'm a Tonga. I wanted more out of this tournament, but I'm still high on him. Kenta in this tournament, especially the thread of the corner turnbuckle. I know that's bothered some people. I think making that a thread through the tournament was a really fun thing to do, especially when it came back up in matches that were otherwise just normal good matches. I've really enjoyed that, and I've really enjoyed Kenta. I thought this match was a nightmare from hell.
The semi-main event, Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Toru Yano in only 6:42 with the arm lock crosshold. So Zack goes to 6-2, and Yano drops down to 4-4. So Zack, he puts a sleeper on Yano from behind as the referee is still doing his very long announcements. And then he tries to, or the ring announcer. And then he tries to crucifix him for the immediate pin. Yano counters with his own pin attempt. Zack gets the Cobra Twist on him while he's still got his full robe and sash on. That was really funny. And then he nearly cradles him out of there for another near fall. Yano finally rolls out so he can get his fucking clothes off, I guess. He carries Zack all the way out of the ringside area. Yano does, through the curtain into the back. And we can hear the sound of things crashing backstage as Marty Asami starts counting them both out. And then Yano comes out of the curtain alone, heads back to the ring. Zack stumbles back up with a bag over his head, which he then pulls off and then runs back to the ring at 17. Yano probably should have taped that thing to his head or something. I don't know what he was thinking, just putting it on his head. Huh?
I said you'd think.
You'd think, yeah. But yeah, so kind of funny that Yano then, when Zack gets back in the ring, Yano follows that up, I swear to God, by trying to put a cross arm breaker on him. I was like, of course. The only way to... Everybody knows the sequence goes bag over the head, cross arm breaker. That was probably the funniest thing of the match. He went from trying to blind this man and win by count out to an arm bar. Okay. Zack reverses to his own cross arm breaker, but Yano was able to lock his hands to block. It's a real technical match now. And then he makes the ropes to break. Then they get handcuffed together. They both nearly get counted out. They exchange cradles back in the ring while still handcuffed. And then Zack gets a triangle on him again while still handcuffed. And Yano tries to free himself with a key while in this triangle. But Zack switches to the arm bar, the cross arm lock, and Yano taps out. So this, unfortunately, was nowhere near as good as their classic during the G1 last year, a match I honest to God gave 4 stars. But, it was much shorter for one. But, yeah, their weird chemistry continued anyway. But, yeah, it's like Yano's best match of the G1 every year. So I went 3 1/4. That's what that meant this year for Yano. Yano has not had a good year, but this match was pretty fun.
I've been skipping Yano, and I'm not like an abject Yano hater.
Yeah, same
like
with me.
Some are. I can't watch all. I got to skip something. So I haven't really had any idea what he's been up to. I thought this was a lot of fun. I think it helps. You can tell when someone's really excited to have their Yano match, and Zack loves having a Yano match. Zack having a very loose fitting bag on his head while he's running into the rails, I thought was a bit much, but I don't know. Also, Yano, there's little grappling sequences. I love these little these tiny little flares where you remember that Yano actually is a pro wrestler and knows how to have wrestling matches if he really wanted to. So I had a good time. My main thing is the Yano match wasn't the worst match on the show. 2 3/4. It was fun enough to watch, and it was better than Kenta and Tonga.
The main event was Shingo Takagi defeating the Great Okan in 25-50 with the Last of the Dragon. So Shingo moves up to 6-2, and Great Okan drops down to 4-5. Shingo's ribs were taped up entering this match due to the damage he took in his last match with Tonga Loa. There you go. Tonga Loa injured the champion, everybody.
Unbelievable.
Shingo at one point, he blocked Okan's Mongolian chops, and then he stared at his hands briefly and hit, so Shingo blocked the Mongolian chop, and then he did his own Mongolian chop, and he stared at his own hands like he was Johnny Gargano. He was like, how am I so Tenzan? It's like, what is going on? I was just like, what the fuck? I did not think I was going to see Johnny Gargano hand staring on this New Japan show, especially from Shingo Takagi, of all people. I guess they were in Dragon Gate USA together. But
Shingo's paying respect to all his heroes.
There you go. He keeps hitting the Mongolian chops. He drops Okan with a big DDT. We get a suplex no-sell spot that ends with they just like drop each other in their heads and both no-selling them. And then Shingo bounces off the ropes and kills Okan with an awesome sliding lariat. Then Okan repeatedly just takes these lariats right to the neck from Shingo. Soon after the 20-minute call, he just won't go down. But then Shingo catches an axe kick from Okan into Made in Japan for a 2 count. I actually didn't love the setup there. It looked a little too much like Okan going, here, please take my limbs so you can hit your move.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I have it in my notes that I thought the Made in Japan transition was like so slick and pretty. But I guess we both feel that way, but from different you saw it as a negative.
Yeah, just kind of awkward, and like his facial expression was weird too. Maybe that was the big problem.
Sure.
We go to the big strike exchange. Shingo is rocking Okan with elbows from each side. He hits a punch to the face, which Okan no-sells, rears back and hits his own big punch. He's been doing that punch a lot too, so that's, it's like kind of turned into one of his signature spots. And then at that point, Shingo no-sells that though, and then he hits a big headbutt, on Okan. And Okan no-sells that anyway, but then he charges right into a huge elbow to the face. So pretty great exchange there. And Shingo goes for Last of the Dragon. Okan escapes. He goes behind with a sleeper. He gets the claw over Shingo's face during the sleeper, then goes for the eliminator. Shingo gets out of it. They both duck each other before Okan takes Shingo down with a lariat for a 2 count. Shingo escapes another eliminator, hits a dragon suplex and a diving forearm, just as we get the 25-minute call. Okan gets right back up, but Shingo kills him with a pumping bomber that Okan lands right on his neck for, and that gets a 2 count. Shingo tears his own tape off his ribs and hits Last of the Dragon, and that, of course, gets the pin. I was a little surprised there. I thought Okan was going to beat him and finally get a big win and, spoil it here, but he did not. He's taken his lumps in his first G1. He got his little 4-0 win streak, but now he's, lost 5 straight here to end the tournament since this tournament's over. I guess it was actually a 3-match win streak, yeah, because one of them was he's supposed to be fighting Naito on the last night. But he probably would have gotten a big win to end his tournament, but instead he just has the free 2 points. But yeah, if anyone was wondering whether or not Okan was ready to step in and wrestle New Japan main events, I mean, he proved it in these 3 nights when he got put into these main events against Ishii, Ibushi, and Shingo that he was never supposed to be in. They were all supposed to be semi-main events, I believe, below Naito mains. He answered the bell. He was great in all 3 of these matches. I mean, I went 4.25 on both the Ishii and Ibushi matches. I went 4 stars flat on this one, so it was my least favorite of the 3, but still an awesome match. This is just like, it's just really good to see for New Japan because he's the kind of guy that they really need to be a big star going forward. And, I think the people who say he's bad are completely out to lunch. And, if you don't like the gimmick or whatever, I get it, but I think he more than showed that he can hold his own here in the ring. So there you go. There were a couple of nitpicks, little awkward spots or whatever, but still a great ending to what I thought was a great show. I mean, this show, there was nothing bad in this show for me, and obviously ended with a great main event here. So,
yeah, I loved this match. this is my favorite match of the whole tournament so far.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I really loved it, and there's so much I could say about it that I loved. Okan, he's been doing the thing in this last run where he's the matches he's losing against all the bigger names. He's doing the thing where he's like molding into their style a little bit. And I heard a weird noise. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry.
I just muted it for a second. That's all.
Oh, it made a whoop noise.
Oh,
Okay. No worries. Yeah. So, but with this one, so say like, look at the Ishii match before this. He has the Ishii match. He has the, two bulls running at each other match. There's been this caveat with Okan matches, these Okan main event or longer matches where they're good matches, but he kind of makes them into his own pace. I thought this looked a lot like and was paced a lot like a conventional New Japan main event. I think his offense is really taking shape, and a lot of these like smaller offensive maneuvers are becoming like signature spots, like that closed fist punch. I also like a lot of his like slams and takedowns are really leverage based. Like his arm drag, it looks like he's working off leverage, like which feels like a nod to his amateur background. I like that so much of his matches are around like shit talking, sitting on the opponent in the corner, leaning into elbows. I feel like it raises the stakes of every match. I feel like it really puts like pride on the line, especially in the Ishii match and in this match. And to Shingo's credit, I'm really impressed by, like, I know Okan's not that much of a bigger guy than Shingo, but he's portrayed as a bigger, stronger opponent than Shingo. And I think Shingo's been so great against guys that are bigger than him, especially because that's a role he very rarely had to take on before New Japan. Like his matches with Cobb, I think, are both incredible. And this one, same thing. It feels like he's using like speed and momentum to beat Okan. And for the sake of some brevity, I'll stop raving about this match. But the last detail, so we can go to bed at some point. But one detail, I don't know who's the party that's responsible for this being the case, but when he goes for the last of the dragon, I don't know what it is, but when he drops Okan, it just sounds like he drops this big fat slab of meat on the ground. It makes this like sick thud. It just felt so forceful. And it just added to this, like, I don't know, this big fucking beast that Okan portrays. Loved this match. I don't want to give it 4.5, but I also, if I ever could give 4 1/3, it's this is the 4 1/3.
That was Ibushi Okan for me, actually, where that was like the 4 1/3 match.
I get that. That was also really good.
Yeah. So, maybe it was Ibushi Shingo. I don't know. It was Ibushi Shingo because Ibushi Okan is my bottom 4 1/4 match. So it looks like.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Maybe it was, I don't know. Maybe it was Okada Taichi. I don't know. It was a match. It was one of the 4 1/4 matches. But yeah, so
definitely a match.
So we definitely agree it was a great match, and and you had it as an even better match than I did. So there you go. So that did it for the A Block's penultimate show here, their second to last show. So the A Block standings entering the last night, and we'll have to go over some very crazy scenarios as far as who can win the tournament thanks to all these wacky tiebreakers. So we have a 4-way tie for first entering the final night. Kota Ibushi, Zack Sabre Jr., Kenta, and Shingo Takagi. They are all 6-2 for 12 points. Then we have, so those are the only wrestlers still alive because I think 2 of them face each other. So, at least one of them will get to 14 points, or even, if they draw, they get to 13 points. It's Ibushi and Kenta. Those are the 2 that face each other. So then everybody else is eliminated, including Ishii, who's in 5th by himself at 5-3 for 10 points. Then Toru Yano, Great Okan, tied for 6. Both are 4-4 for 8 points. Or actually, no, that's wrong. 4-5 for 8 points. My bad. In tied for 8th, we have Yujo Takahashi and Tonga Loa. No, I had it right the first time. I'm an idiot. 4-4, 8 points. It's like Yano's 4-4, and Okan is 4-5 because Okan's done. So Yano is above Okan. So Yano at 4-4, Okan in 7th at 4-5. And then tied for 8th, we have Yujo Takahashi and Tonga Loa. They are both at 2-6 for 4 points. Then we have Tetsuya Naito, obviously in last place, at 0-9 for 0 points, thanks to his defeat from Zach and the forfeit for the other 8 matches afterward. So night 17 here, the final A block night will be on Monday from the Yokohama Budokan. So I have the final card order, and I have the the very wacky scenarios here as far as like who can move on and how. So let me I thought I had it open. I guess I don't. But the card order here, the main event is obviously going to be Ibushi and Kenta, since they both have 12 points. Then semi-main event is Zack and Tonga Loa. Third from the top, Shingo and Yujiro, since Shingo has 12 points and Zack has 12 points. And then you have Ishii and Yano, the only tournament match that doesn't matter. And opening the show, Great Okan against Satoshi Kojima. So that's your non-tournament match to make up for the lack of Naito. As far as the scenarios, so Kenta's the one who is, quote-unquote, Kenta wins the block in 6 different scenarios. So he's the one who has the most scenarios to win the block. So let's go through these. After that, it's Ibushi and Zack can both win in 4 scenarios, and Shingo can only win in 2. So, scenario 1. If Ibushi beats Kenta, Zack beats Tonga Loa, and Shingo beats Yujiro, then Zack wins the block. So there's scenario 1. If Ibushi beats Kenta, Tonga Loa beats Zack, so Tonga Loa upsets Zack, and Shingo beats Yujiro, then Ibushi wins the block. So it doesn't matter for Ibushi if Shingo wins or loses, but if he needs Tonga Loa to beat Zack. Because the same thing for the next scenario. If Ibushi wins, Tonga Loa wins, and Yujiro wins, then Ibushi wins the block. If Ibushi, Zack, and Yujiro win, then Zack wins the block. If Ibushi, Zack, and Shingo all win, then Zack wins the block. So if Ibushi, Zack, and Shingo all win, then Zack wins the block. If Ibushi beats Kenta, Tonga Loa beats Zack, and Shingo beats Yujiro, then Ibushi wins the block. If let's see. Oh, he's putting in Yano and Ishii scenarios too here. That's why. Which that match doesn't matter. So I don't know why. What? Shout out to Chris Samsa for making this extra confusing. Okay. But yeah, there you go. The next one. So if Kenta beats Ibushi, Zack beats Tonga Loa, and Shingo beats Yujiro, we have an unbreakable tie. So, or Kenta would advance somehow. I don't know how. But Kenta would advance somehow in that scenario. So if Shingo and Zack both win and Kenta beats Ibushi, then Kenta would advance. If Yujiro wins and then Zack wins and Kenta wins, Kenta wins the block. So it doesn't matter for Kenta whether Shingo wins or not. If Kenta, Tonga Loa, and Shingo win, then Shingo wins the block because it was tiebreaker on Kenta. So basically Shingo needs Tonga Loa to upset Zack. And then these are all the Kenta beats Ibushi. Yeah, Kenta. Okay, I think these are all the same again. Now, if Kenta, okay, Yano defeats Ishii. Who cares about Yano defeats Ishii? If Kenta beats Ibushi and Tonga and Yujiro win, then Kenta obviously wins the block. They made this so complicated this year. Where the hell are Shingo scenarios to win this fucking block? That's what I want to know. Okay, so. I haven't given a single scenario with Shingo 1 yet. So where is Shingo's 2 scenarios? I see Zack. I said Ibushi. I said Kenta. Okay. He says Shingo has 2 scenarios to win the... Oh, okay. I think I see it finally. Okay. So... Oh, I think I did say it already. So if Tonga Loa beats Zack and Kenta and Shingo both win their matches, then Shingo would have the tiebreaker over Kenta. So he's kind of has 2 scenarios based on Yano and Ishii, which again doesn't matter. So,
so that's the first one that sticks out to me because I'm fairly confident Tonga wins.
Yeah,
which is a bummer.
Shingo's gonna get upset by Yujiro somehow, I guess.
Yeah,
otherwise-
I want Kenta to get through.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be either Kenta or Ibushi.
Right.
So for it to come down to Kenta and Ibushi and the winner moves on, I think Shingo and Zack both have to lose. So I assume that will happen.
Oh.
So Yujo Takahashi is going to beat the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
Well, he's due.
I mean, I think Shingo can win that match actually, as long as Tonga loses to Zack. Then I think it is still Kenta Ibushi winner moves on.
Who controls their own destiny? Who can?
I think
win?
just Kenta and Ibushi. I think.
No,
Actually, no. I don't think any of them do.
Oh, this is fucked up.
I think it's that crazy. I don't think any of them control their own destiny. Yeah. So, yeah, in the scenario where Shingo wins and Tonga Loa wins and Ibushi wins, Ibushi moves on that scenario. And then the scenario where Shingo wins, Tonga Loa wins, and Kenta wins. Let me just say, no, Shingo would move on. So, I guess Yujiro is beating either Kenta is fighting to send Yujiro to the final. I mean, Kenta's fighting to Yujiro.
That would be great. I would love.
Either Kenta's fighting to send Shingo to the final, or Yujiro is beating Shingo. So there we go. I think that's how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so if Yujiro wins, the main event is for.
If Yujiro and Tonga Loa win,
oh right,
the main event is for all the moments.
This sounds horrible. If Yujiro and Tonga Loa win, this show sucks.
It is a weird. I assume the Naito being out really fucked things up, for it to come down to Yujiro Takahashi and Tonga Loa needing wins. You know, because Naito was supposed to be fighting the Great Okan on this show, so obviously that Naito would have been alive probably, and the Great Okan was going to spoil him.
Right, that was my assumption too. Yeah,
because remember Naito beat him like earlier this year after Okan had beaten him in the New Japan Cup.
Oh, right, he won the New Japan Cup match.
Yeah,
okay.
And then they faced each other again. Naito beat him. So yeah, Okan, like basically it was gonna come down to Ibushi Kenta and Naito Okan probably, and these other matches like Zack and Tonga Loa and Shingo and Yujiro would not have mattered. You know, but now they do.
I never looked at. I just didn't look at the last night. I knew that the A block didn't really have a really clear like that's the block final the way it has in the past. So I just stopped paying attention, and I bought that Zack was going to win this block. And if I knew that Tonga Loa was his last match and he's got the tag belt, I never would have believed it for a second. I would have always known that's how it ends.
Yeah.
But I totally bought it, and now I'm just bummed no matter what happens. I don't want Kota. Like, how many times? Like, I like Kota Ibushi. I love Kota Ibushi. I like him a lot.
I think we're getting Okada Kota Ibushi final. I think that's what we're getting.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be. I'm kind of confident it'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna do because Okada beat him? Yeah, Okada beat him already.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe we're not
Kota
getting
beat him.
Maybe it'll be
in
Okada
the beginning.
and Kenta.
When's the last time they wrestled? I can't. It's the same match.
Start of the G1. Oh wait, no, they didn't.
No,
they're not
last
the same
year's
block.
G1.
Yeah,
Kota beat
last
him.
year's G1 Kota beat him.
And then after he was like, "Well, I don't know why Okada sucks now. I'm not counting that match."
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't have. Let's look this up. Why not? I feel like we're forgetting a match, but I don't know what it is. So
yeah, it feels like Okada and Kota wrestle every 3 months.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up. Maybe they haven't wrestled since last year's G1. I really have no idea.
If so, I'm gonna sound dumb having said that. I really hope they've.
Oh boy! So they have not had a singles match.
You can edit this, right?
Since September 2020. So last year's G1.
Well,
so,
a year feels like 3 months during COVID, so I'm standing by it.
Yeah, but there you go. We have an Okada. The Rangers got a point, everybody. Yeah,
let's go.
2-2, end of regulation. They almost got scored on with 5 seconds left, but they didn't. Anyway, so the G1 Climax. We got Okada Ibushi, but and that's their last meeting. So I have to tweet out a point is a point.
Absolutely, take your time.
Thank you. Anyway, so Okada Ibushi. It was very important for me to stop talking so I could do that. Okada Ibushi. Anyone who follows me on Twitter and listens to this show is going to be like, John was recording when I tweeted out a point in all caps. But yeah, so Okada and Ibushi probably in their first match since last year's G1. That's probably the final. So Okada's gonna get his win back for Ibushi beating him. Womp womp. We just figured it out, I guess.
Oh boy. Well, this frees up a lot of time for me.
But yeah, overall great show. And there's your A block scenarios for the Yokohama Budokan next Monday, which again I will be talking about on the Patreon. The Patreons. I have the hiccups suddenly. The Patreon next Monday. Patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. Okay, so let's get to the other show we're going to talk about. Not a great show, which was from the, from the, I just saw you reply to my tweet.
This tweet's going to blow up once this episode comes out.
Thursday, October 14th, from Yamagata, the B block. Look, the B blocks had a very up and down tournament. I thought nights 6 and 8, I believe, fucking sucked. Were not good. Nights 10 and 12 was suddenly good to great. Like they turned it on, they were great. And then night 14 and night 16 back to bad. So I don't know. The B, I can't say the B is for bad because there was good stuff here on other nights. But is there a word for like that's a synonym of uncertain or inconsistent that starts with B? I don't think there is.
But we'll come up with one.
But consistent.
Yeah. Biddling.
Biddling.
My thing would be, and this sucks for a G1, but my thing, I felt like the B block had a lot of what, if this were an American wrestling company, you'd call like a lot of really nice TV matches. Like there's a lot of like, oh, I wasn't upset watching that. I just don't think any of these matches are great. There were some great matches. And I think we probably agree on who was in all of them.
Taichi.
Yeah, well, he was. You were higher than I was, but I got a lot of Taichi matches.
He was the MVP of the B block, that's for sure.
Yeah, Taichi ruled. But like I don't know, a lot of like goofy antics in this block entertained me, but very little, stuck out to me. And this show was
fucking bad.
I had a real tough one, and it was. I was like, I can't bail. I have to be on a fucking podcast tonight.
It's not like this is the worst show you've ever seen or anything, but like for a fucking G1 show, this was bad.
Yeah.
We opened up with Hiromu Takahashi and Bushi defeating Ryohei Oiwa and Kosei Fujita. The Rangers just lost. Oh, well. They didn't get their point. But yeah, Bushi beat Fujita in 7-12 with a Boston Crab. Just not much to this one at all. I thought they beat him up and Ibushi tapped him out. Very average match here. I went 2.5 stars.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of nothing. More chops. I still don't know. I meant to learn how to pronounce the other young lion's name before this. Oiwa?
Oiwa.
I didn't watch any of his matches. Except for this. I did like getting to see Bushi win a match by body slamming someone and putting on a Boston Crab. I thought that was fun. And I like the part where Kevin Kelly was just leaning over to Hiromu like, why do you chop? Do you like to chop? Do you remember that? Like, he was like speaking in weirdly like stilted English, going over to Hiromu. Hiromu was outside the ring and he's like, do you like to chop? And I guess Hiromu says something and he goes, he says he does. That was my favorite part. 2.5 stars, whatever.
Match number 2, our first tournament match. Taichi could not be a miracle worker here, unfortunately. Chase Owens beat him in 12:05 with a package power driver. So Chase goes up to 2-6, and the Holy Emperor down to 2-6. What the fuck? Chase asked Taichi at the start if he likes sumo wrestling. He keeps drinking water and tossing, I think, was it imaginary salt or actual salt?
I think it was imaginary salt.
I thought it was imaginary, but I wasn't 100% sure. Then he immediately gets taught. So they do the sumo, and then he immediately gets tossed down by Taichi and like tossed all the way out of the ring. So way to go, Chase, you fucking idiot. Then Chase concentrates on working over Taichi's injured ribs in midsection, hits various back breakers and gut busters and such. There's a lot of busting, basically breaking and busting. And I definitely have to say, I could do without Chase fucking Owens asking Miho Abe for a kiss repeatedly as he's beating down
Not great.
uh
Not
beating
great.
down Taichi. Like this motherfucker. If I would say he's just being, a typical heel and doesn't even think about what he's doing, if not for the fact that he seems to enjoy trolling people who care about his speaking out allegations on Twitter, which makes me think he's absolutely doing this on purpose, as in to troll those people. So fuck Chase Owens.
I think you're giving him too much. Well, I guess too much credit isn't the. I don't think Chase has ever thought below surface level about anything in his life.
I don't know. I think he probably knew what he was doing here.
That isn't me saying, "Hey, Chase is actually a good dude," for what it's.
Yeah.
It's just me saying Chase doesn't think a lot.
Chase hits the Alabama Jam off the top rope as a tribute to Bobby Eaton. Then he hits the package power driver on Taichi for the pin as they continue to tell the story that he's slumping, with the injured ribs. But whatever, I guess. Chase Owens, I mean, I get the story, but fucking Chase Owens, really? This was a fine match, I guess. Nothing wrong with it, but really kind of boring at times. Chase peaked pretty early in the tournament, that is for sure. I gave it the gentleman's 3.
Yeah, I think a gentleman's 3 is fair. There was some stuff, like I thought, aside from the other implications with it, I thought Chase, doing the you want to kiss or whatever. And then when he goes to, after all that, he, has to act all cowardly and stuff when Taichi no-sells the leg kick. I thought that was all fun enough. And then doing the Bobby Eaton leg drop gave this match, something to hold on to.
Yeah.
It was some, I don't know. I think Chase has had his moments where he's been shocked. I don't know if I want to say shockingly good, but he's delivered over the course of an entire match in a way I wasn't sure he could. This was whatever 3, but it had, I wasn't totally bored the whole time.
Yeah, that seems about right. Match number 3, Sonata defeats Hiroki Goto in 15-32 with an O'Connor bridge. So Sonata moves up to 4-4, and Goto moves down to 2-6. So they started out kind of fast, but then they hit the chin lock because I guess can't let things get too exciting. And we did get, I'd say, very typical stuff from both guys in this match, not in a bad way, really. Sonata's leapfrogs and his plancha looks good as usual. But then they start reversing dragon sleepers back and forth, and then Goto falls down on the Sonata moonsault flip off the ropes into skull end setup spot, so that wasn't great. Goto then reversed into his own dragon sleeper, and then he set Sonata up on the top rope and hit this weird, delayed neck breaker off of there. It just looked awkward and clunky all around. Certainly just not the best sequence there. Sonata got an O'Connor roll on Goto for a near fall just before the 15-minute call. Goto picked him up and went for the GTR. Sonata reversed to the Dragon Sleeper. Goto awkwardly reversed that back to a cradle for a 2 count. Goto hit the inverted GTR, but then Sonata just kind of was like, whatever, and got the O'Connor roll a second time, and that got the pin. I was like, okay. And they really did a good job making Goto look like a fucking dork in this tournament, even more than usual. But yeah, I thought it was an anticlimactic finish to go with a very disappointing match here for 2 guys who, have had good matches together before. 2-2 all-time records. So Sonata breaks the tie in a very underwhelming match. I would say barely above average. I went 2 3/4. Just sloppy Sonata at times, and Goto. He really hasn't had a good tournament for me at all. Either obviously in the results, in the work results, but I have not liked this tournament even from an in-ring standpoint. I know other people have liked it more than me, but I think he's been pretty underwhelming in this tournament. So I can't really blame him for not getting excited about a tournament we're going to lose all the time. But whatever. Taichi's 2-6, and he had a lot better matches than Goto. That's all I can say.
Was just gonna say that. Other people are losing tons of matches and putting on good shows at least. I think I don't know. In the beginning of the tournament, Goto seemed a little more motivated. I don't know if I'm just I got a soft spot for Goto, but it's got to be the right applications. But but the instances where I find myself caring or shrinking more and more, and now it's you just got to put him in there with a grunt like Ishii for me to care. It's got to be a dumb violent match.
He has to turn or something. I mean, really,
I'm not going to give a shit if he turns. I think he's just got to go be a dad. And if I can frame him in my mind as a dad, I'll like him more.
I want him to turn. I want him to get like one big heel run before he goes to Dadland. But I don't know.
Once he got tangled up in that Kenta story and nothing came out of that for him, I was like, it was like one of the best angles the company's run in years, and somehow Goto just baselined out of it, which I thought was impossible. So I don't know. And with this, and like Sonata, I don't know. I don't hate Sonata. I hate his closing sequence so much, and so much of New Japan's big singles match style is based around building toward your closing sequence. I just hate his shit so much. So this match, I don't know. This match just felt like nothing happened. It felt like as little could happen in a match between two wrestlers this talented as possible. My notes are just like, I don't know what to write about. My notes say I have no idea what to write about this. I like that it ended. I liked, when that O'Connor roll worked, I was like, oh, good. We're out of here without like an extended like GTR skull and reversal sequence. 2.5 because everything looked good enough. They're both good pro wrestlers.
Then match number 4, the only great match on this show, was Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating Yoshihashi with the high fly flow in 14-13. Tanahashi goes to 4-4, and Yoshihashi goes to 2-6. So this match, they had a pretty cool exchange where Tanahashi and Yoshihashi exchanged moves from the front suplex position. Yoshi was like hitting these normal suplexes, and Tana was hitting twisted shouts. But both guys just like won't let go of each other. And Yoshi tried to hang Tana over the top rope, but Tanahashi quickly countered back and hit a final twist and shout to put him down, finally breaking his grip. And at that point, I just wrote down, like, these are two noisy ass wrestlers just screaming and grunting at each other. I kind of love it. They just were like so loud in there. It was like it was almost like a Joshi match with how loud they were with each other. I'm not saying that as an insult. I love Joshi matches. Tana nails Yoshihashi with a sling blade, but he popped right up and no-sold it. He had an axe bomber that Tana no-sold right back, but then Yoshi followed up with a super kick, but Tana popped right back up and hit another sling blade for a 2 count. He went up and hit the high fly flow cross body to a standing Yoshihashi, followed by the high fly flow to the front, and that, of course, got the pin. I thought this was a great match. I like they didn't try to make it a fucking epic, because, again, it shouldn't take some of these New Japan G1 matches where it's like, why is it taking this long for this person to beat this person? It never should. This was like, it was 14 minutes. It should not take that long for Tanahashi to beat Yoshihashi. It makes 14 minutes like about the max it should go. I thought it was a lot of fun, a great match on a show that desperately needed it. So I couldn't quite go the full 4, but it was an easy 3 3/4 for me. So I had a great time with this one.
Yeah, this was a really just pleasing match. I wouldn't call it a great match, but I was entertained the whole time. I like that there was 2 like little reversal struggles, and one ended with Tanahashi just battering him with twist and shouts, and the other ended with Yoshihashi getting the dragon suplex. I think Yoshihashi's been real good in this tournament. Yoshihashi's had some matches where I'm like, I can't believe I'm enjoying a Yoshihashi match this much. But like you said, it just did nothing wrong. It was exciting. They were both fired up. And it just ended, like, which is another thing that doesn't, like you said, it shouldn't be. Well, Tanahashi, I think they're playing up that he's getting older in this tournament, or maybe I just feel that way because he lost clean to Chase. But I do kind of like, I know we always say like they're beginning to phase Tanahashi down, and people always say that, and then something happens where I go, I don't really think they're phasing him down. But this tournament, I do feel like they're prepping Tanahashi to get out of main events and not come back. That said, he still should be able to handle Yoshihashi, and he just does. And I like that. So 3.5 for me. I like the whole thing. I think they've both been great in the tournament, and just a really pleasant match.
Semi-main event, Jeff Cobb defeats Evil with the Tour of the Islands in 1645 to eliminate him. So Cobb goes to 8-0, and Evil ends up at 6-2. And he's done, of course, because the best he can do is 14 points. And even though Okada, might I mean, basically someone has to win Okada versus Cobb, right? So that's all it comes down to. So, and both of his losses are to Okada and Cobb anyway.
Yeah.
So you can't run any tiebreakers. But someone has to win that match. So, but yes, so I don't know. I mean, I ranted for so long behind the Patreon about how fucking sick I am of Evil. I mean, I'm not going to go on the same rant again. So let's just go through some of the spots in this match. If you want to pay for the rant or you want to hear the rant, you got to pay for it. It's only $5.
I've got a pretty good Evil rant on this podcast once too.
Patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. Evil sends Cobb and the ring announcer, of course, but then Cobb does do something kind of amazing. This is like the only highlight of the match for me. He sets Evil up at the timekeeper's table. He even hands him the little wooden hammer, a great touch. And he then grabs Dick Togo. He throws him into the railing, and Dick Togo crashes into Evil, and Evil gets to experience what he's done to poor Abe all this time.
Loved it.
That was honestly a way better payoff than I thought we'd ever get for the stupid Evil hates Abe thing. They had better fucking end it now. Please do not just have Evil go back to knocking people in the timekeeper. This should be it. This should be the end.
Evil Abe in the dome, baby.
Oh. This should be the end of it. Hopefully they don't fucking do anything else. If I have another complaint about this, it's almost too babyface for Cobb. Like, I know he's the face in this match, but he's a heel. Why is he avenging the timekeeper? It's a little weird. It's a little too much of a babyface thing for him to do. But, you know, that is a nitpick. So later on, something that did suck, Cobb has Evil up in his arms. He, quote-unquote, tries to run him into Dick Togo on the apron, but accidentally hits the ref instead. This looked fucking stupid. Like, the ref and Dick Togo are not that close together, so it made Jeff Cobb look like a complete fucking idiot that he missed Dick Togo and hit the ref.
I forgave it for one reason, and that's that while he was doing it, he just yells, "Fuck you, Togo!"
Yes, it's like, oh, we got to make sure we know. You know, it's kind of funny, but it was like, oh, we got to make sure we know that he was aiming for Dick Togo, because otherwise he can't tell because the spot fucking sucks.
It did suck, yeah.
So yeah, then he slams Evil and then covers him and is like, oh, why is there no ref? Because you just knocked him off the apron, or you knocked him to the ground, you fucking idiot. And then Dick Togo hits him in the back with a chair while he's covering this man with no one counting, like a complete moron. Evil and Togo give him the magic killer. Like, every single spot with Togo, I shouldn't do the same rant again, but every single spot with Dick Togo requires you to believe that no one in New Japan Pro Wrestling watches anybody else's matches, okay? And this is not a company where we've established that. This is not WWE. We have not established that no one in the fucking back has ever watched anybody else's match. They do things and they scout each other. They do spots based on that. Nobody in this company has apparently ever watched an Evil match.
Well,
ever.
You know, I listened to that rant.
They always fall for the same shit. Oh, you forgot you're a patron.
Oh, yeah, I'm a patron. I'm a diehard, baby. I listened. I heard the rant, and I was thinking, there's a lot of members of, like, Chaos, and they all ride a bus together. And you think they'd lean over dinner and be like, hey, pal, you're going to wrestle that guy in 2 days, right? Watch out for when they do this thing. You're going to want to watch out for it. But I don't know. They must not make small talk. But Cobb doesn't have any friends. Cobb's probably just driving by himself in a rental.
I guess. But
who wants to watch all these? I don't want to watch all these matches. Why would they?
I guess. Maybe Will Ospreay could fucking call, give him a phone call from across the fucking pond and tell him. I don't know.
That'd be a good stable leader would do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so these spots, they just drive me insane because it's the same shit in every match. And I know that in a lot of ways, New Japan, the G1, is all the same shit in every match. But for some reason, it just seems fucking stupider when it's the same shit involving a cheating manager doing easily preventable things.
Well, this ties back into why back when I was losing my mind with these Evil matches, why I thought this was different than every other stale heel routine. And it's because what Togo does isn't just like sneak up and hit you with a chair when the ref's not looking. Togo brings the whole match to a screeching halt 3 times a night and puts on like a 2-man show that completely disrupts the entire thing that would be so easily preventable if even the refs talk to each other.
Yeah, that was the other thing. If the referees, there is nobody in New Japan Pro Wrestling who can go, maybe we should stop letting this Dick Togo guy fucking ruin all these matches. we should try doing this. Why don't you just eject him when the fucking match?
Yeah.
You're going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt and he's choking people with wires. And again, I know a lot of this. You can make a lot of these arguments for a lot of stuff in wrestling, okay? But I'm not talking because I've seen people do the whataboutism. And yes, there's way too much interference in AEW too. There's way too much interference in WWE. Doesn't mean I like it in New Japan either. And this was so fucking annoying. And I couldn't I can't take this evil shit anymore. And I was not an evil hater from day one. I gave it a chance. I liked the Naito feud, but I can't take it anymore. I cannot fucking take it. It's the same shit in every fucking match. Mm-hmm. They gotta move this character on. And the other part of the rant, this doesn't really apply to Cobb, but the other thing I talked about on the Patreon is like, this evil character would annoy me so much less if the idea was he's a great pro wrestler who can't quite beat the top guys. He can't beat Okada. He can't beat Naito. He can't beat Ibushi. He can't beat Tanahashi. The top of the top. Without cheating and without using Dick Togo. He can't beat Shingo, whatever. Top guys, he can't beat without cheating. But he obviously does not need Dick Togo to beat Chase Owens. Instead, they book him to need Dick Togo to beat everyone on the roster, whether it's even fucking Chase Owens, who Evil should be beating with his fucking eyes closed, and he needs Dick Togo to beat Chase Owens. He was going to lose to Chase Owens without Dick Togo. Not even a low-card face, a low-card heel in his own stable. I'm just like, it's horrible. It's like needing Dick Togo's help to beat everyone in the company has made Evil look like a fucking joke. I mean, there's no other way to put it. This guy looks like a complete fucking joke.
Yeah,
so
I don't even mind that he looks like a joke. I just wish once in a while Dick Togo would just grab someone's ankle and call it a night. You know what I mean? Just hit him with a fucking kendo stick as they're bouncing off the ropes or something. Just fucking take it easy. I got shit to do. I can't. Once the ref goes down, I know I'm in for 10 more minutes of this shit. And that's on the first rep bump. I might have 2 more.
Yeah.
It never bothered me. What was the Jay White G1? Was it 2018?
Yeah, Gato gets involved in 2 seconds at the end. Because
right.
Quinlan always rants about this. Because Quinlan hates Jay White. And he's like, oh, nobody ever complained when it was Jay White. First of all, yes, they did.
Yes, they did. Yes, they fucking did.
Yes. Second of all, Jay White and Gato, it was usually one spot. Right. I complained on this podcast about Jay White and Gato. So I should tell him to fuck off even harder when he says this shit. But yeah, Jay White, so people did complain. But second of all, it was usually one spot at the end of the match and that's it. It was not a 15-minute fuck-a-do like we get here with Evil and Dick Togo every night.
Yeah, so. It's a nightmare. It's like if the Yano match was 20 minutes every night.
Yeah. Anyway, so Evil and Togo,
so what were you saying?
They gave Cobb the Magic Killer. Togo revived the ref. Evil hit Darkness Falls for a 2 count. Ref gets bumped again. That's the other thing. These matches always have 2 or 3 ref bumps. Uh-huh. 1 is enough. Fuck off with that.
1's plenty.
Then we get ref gets bumped. Togo uses the garrote wire on Cobb. Cobb comes back with a super kick to Togo. He tries to grab Evil for a super kick. Or something, I don't know. But he takes a low blow. Evil grabs a chair. Cobb super kicks it back in his face. He German suplexes him, and then he heads to Tour of the Islands for the pin. Unfortunately, that does make the main event almost meaningless, because if Okada loses the Tama, he would still win the block by beating Cobb. It did make it quite meaningless, which did happen, actually. But it did make it quite meaningless, because obviously Okada losing means he can no longer, if there's a draw, Cobb will win the block, which I'm sure they will tease, since it's impossible for Okada to do a match that's not 25 to 30 minutes, as we found out repeatedly during this fucking G1. But whatever. I'll take it to get rid of Evil. But as a match, I thought this was nothing. I saw people praising this match. It's the usual Evil junk. I guess Cobb knocking Evil into the fucking railing, that was funny. Or knocking Togo into Evil, whatever. I gave it 2.5, which that even feels generous to me. I don't know. I did not think this was worth. I saw some people saying, "Oh, it was worth it to see Cobb beat him." First of all, Cobb's not a babyface. Why is a heel? Why is another heel the person who finally saves the world from the Cobb menace? I mean, the Evil menace. I'm so fucking frustrated I can't even talk. Why is another heel the one who saved the world from the Evil menace? It doesn't make any fucking sense. So no, I didn't think it was worth it. I don't know. Just Evil needs just please stop. Just please stop the Evil and
Please.
Togo stuff. You can do like some of this once in a while. Stop doing all of it in every match, please. Thank you. You have anything to say about this piece of shit fucking gimmick and everything else?
Yeah, I liked it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Banned from the show.
I did like it more than you did. Here's why. I think what I learned at Wrestle Kingdom was this last one, the one that had Evil and Sonata.
Yeah, that match was awesome.
And here's why, to me at least. To me, you get Evil away from all the important angles and shit that matters, and then him and Dick Togo are just pro wrestling Dick Dastardly and Muttley. And if you frame them like that, then I can judge all their matches by how much I'd like them if they were an episode of Wacky Racers or the Laugh Olympics. And, and in that regard, the Evil Sonata match was great. And this is the same thing. It was just goofy bullshit. I wish it was just a little shorter, but Cobb sticking the hammer in his... I mean, the reality is I'd rather watch Jeff Cobb have a good match with somebody else. But if this is what I'm going to get, Jeff Cobb doing the timekeeper table spot was funny. I loved when Cobb, he arm drags or he hip tosses one of them. Oh, no. Evil was doing the abdominal stretch on the outside and he's holding on to Togo for leverage. And then Cobb reverses it and he hip tosses Evil. And because Evil was holding Dick Togo's hand, Dick Togo does a flip like he also got hip tossed.
That was kind of funny.
That was funny. I mean, I obviously, like, in the context of the G1, it kind of seems like it shouldn't be happening. But if that's how you're going to... I think that's the best use of Evil at this point, unless you're going to have him, like, have good matches again or something. Imagine. But yeah. And the thing, too, is Cobb is a heel. But when he doesn't have Ospreay next to him, he's just a big ass kicker floating freely. He's just an ass kicker in a vacuum. And that probably shouldn't be their intent if he's still in the heel stable. But as it stands, if you have someone kick that much ass, it's easy to get behind them. And I thought it was a nice little touch when you consider how many matches we've had so far where people stood up to Evil and Togo and are fighting the two of them 2-on-1 and losing in the end, that Cobb just beats the shit out of both of them. I thought that was a neat little touch in the context of the tournament going into the final match with Okada and just making him look like a big ass kicker. That said, what'd you give it? 2.5?
Yeah.
2 3/4? 3? I'll give it 3.
Okay. The main event of the evening, an all-time record that was 4-0 Okada is now 4-1 because Tama Tonga beat Kazuchika Okada in 24-25. He moves to 3-5 and Okada drops to 7-1. I was pretty stunned by this. I thought they were going to do the 8-0 versus 8-0.
Same.
But in hindsight, it makes sense if they don't want to do the, they want to leave the undefeated, for somebody else, basically. So Okada will win the block 8-1 instead of winning the block 9-0. So he'll beat Jeff Cobb and beat him on the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
They basically wanted to save that record for somebody else, the undefeated G, because it's like, Okada doesn't need that, obviously.
I know. It was so transparent what was happening here that kind of bugged me too.
We start on the mat, but we have to get 24 minutes of it. I have to say, of course, because God forbid, and Okada, G1 match, and Okada, a G1 match goes shorter than 24-25. So we start on the mat with a long leg hold up from Okada on Tama. Just went on forever. There's nothing wrong with this match, except it was pretty boring and uninteresting, which I guess seems like something wrong with the match now I say it, but, has Okada ever considered working a 10-minute match in his life? Ever? Please?
Imagine how good would it be, too?
It would,
imagine
probably.
Okada working the pace he did back when he, first came back.
Yeah.
And just ending matches. How good would those matches be?
The Rainmaker and Gunstun counters, they were okay, but even those were okay, it was the less cool version of the Okada and Carl Anderson sequences they used to do all the time because they didn't execute as well here, I thought. Just not as good as those old school reversal dances. Tama just not as smooth as Carl Anderson, I guess, or as Carl Anderson was in 2012.
That was an important caveat.
There's a really awkward. Well, his wife can tell you all about how the lack of smoothness. There's a really awkward spot that I think is supposed to be Tama countering Okada in midair from a tombstone into a gun stun. It doesn't even look like that though. It just looks like Okada getting hit by a power slam from Tama.
That
Even
reminded
Kevin
me
Kelly.
of
Oh,
like
sorry, go ahead.
the BB Hulk flipping DDT move.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It reminded me of that, where when it happened, I was like, who got hurt? I don't know who did. I never know who did the move when BB Hulk does that. And same thing when this happened. I had to rewind it and figure out who got hurt.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty bad. But yeah, so then I mean I took a quarter star off for it just for that, because it's like it's the penultimate, it's the moment of the match that turns everything, and it's like even Kevin Kelly had no idea when they were getting up who was supposed to, like, he thought Tama had a move, or he thought Okada had a move on Tama, and it was like, no, that was Tama reversing, that was Tama hitting his finisher on Okada. Apparently,
Right.
It just looked horrible.
You know what though? When I did rewind it, it doesn't matter, because if I have to rewind it and find this,
Yeah, you can sort of see it.
You can see that Okada smashes his head into the the apron,
but it doesn't look good. Then Tama hits a double underhook pile driver / J driller and gets the pin.
Wait, wasn't that strange that he used the J driller? He'd been using the J driller in the tournament. He didn't beat anyone with it, right? He was winning with the.
No, well, he kept trying to hit it and never hit it.
Oh, he never hit it? I thought he hit it.
I don't think he ever hit it. I don't think he ever hit it. Maybe I'm wrong. But I remember more than one moment where like he had the double underhook and it was like, oh, what the fuck is he going for? A pedigree? And I was like, oh, we'll never know because he didn't hit it. No, maybe he did hit once.
He did hit it at least in the beginning of the tournament, because I remember me and other people being like, oh, I guess Tama does a fucking J driller now.
But yeah, I mean, I went 2 3/4 on this. It was boring, way long, never clicked with me. I guess, there was nothing wrong with it really for the actual execution of moves, but, a pretty dull capper on a not very good show.
Yes. My confession here is that I was actually watching this on my train ride home to do, this was the last match I had left, and on the train ride back home to do this podcast. And when I had sent you the message saying, I got to get my stuff together so we can start, what I actually meant was, I think they're going to a draw and I need to finish this match. I thought the first like 10-15 minutes of this match were as transparent, stretching for time as you could ever have. Just nothing. Well,
that feels like that's like every Okada G1 match.
See, I get that, but at least sometimes I feel like there's some inkling of something in there that's leading to something. Like something's happening that's leading to what the thread will be toward the finish of the match. Usually I feel that way. This time I just felt like nothing was happening. And then right after the 15-minute call, I thought it, like all these matches, they picked it up. I really thought they were going to a draw the way they stretched the first 15 minutes. One thing though, I can't forgive the first 15 minutes. The last 9 minutes I thought were great. I think where Tonga Loa came in with these high expectations that I don't think he lived up to, I had zero expectations for Tama, and he was way better than I thought he'd be. I was never, barring the first 15 minutes of this, I was rarely bored for any of his matches. Thought he came in looking great. I thought he expanded the move set in a way that made his matches like more fun, and had like, like the Samoan driver bomb thing and the J driller, cool additions to the move set. And I thought he was really like charismatic and like engaging for that last 9-10 minutes in a way that I didn't know he had in him in a Korakuen Hall main event. I thought the finish was weirdly sudden. I thought nothing laid the ground for him finishing people with that move. So I thought that was weird, especially to finish the undefeated Okada with. So I don't know. I'll probably give it like 3 1/4. I thought Tama was really great down the stretch, and I thought the last 10 minutes were a lot of fun. But the first 15 minutes were like unforgivably just nothing.
So there you go. Your B block standings of night 16, thankfully much, much, much more stable than the A block. Jeff Cobb in first at 8-0. Okada's in second at 7-1. Evil in third, and everybody else in the block is eliminated, including Evil, at 6-2 for 12 points. Then Tanahashi and Sonata tie for fourth at 4-4. Tama Tonga in sixth by himself at 3-5. Taichi, Yoshihashi, and Goto all tie for seventh at 2-6. And then, actually, no, and Taichi, Yoshihashi, Goto, and Chase Owens all tied for 7th at 2 and 6. So there you go. Got to change Chase's ranking. Your night 18, the B Block Finals, that's next Wednesday from the Nippon Budokan in Tokyo. I don't think we know the match order yet, but I think we can safely assume that Okada and Jeff Cobb will be the main event, considering it's the only match that matters. So yes, Okada needs to beat Cobb in order to move on. Cobb can either win or he can get through with a draw of any kind. So if they go the time limit, which I'm sure they're going to tease, Cobb will move on to the final. And then we have the other matches that don't matter. Sonata versus Evil, Yoshihashi versus Chase Owens, Hiroki Goto versus Tama Tonga, and Tanahashi versus Taichi. So hopefully Taichi gets a big win there. He needs it. And they are doing a non-tournament match of Fujita and Oiwa against Hiromu and Bushi again, but it's a match 0. It's starting before the actual build time. So there you go. There's your B block final scenarios there. I don't know if anything else want to say about old B block.
I am actually really
Interesting.
excited for that match because I think what's been frustrating about the B block and the lack of access to wrestlers outside the country they have is whether Okada was working the whole injury or doing the weird money clip story for nothing or whatever, or he was hurt and he's healthy now. I think since that last Cobb match, where was it? Was it the Dome?
It was MetLife.
Oh, MetLife. Okay. I lose track of these half capacity big shows.
Half capacity.
Half, right? Well, you know what I mean. These big
10th capacity.
These big empty warehouse spaces. I think since then he's looked great. He's just had no one to share that with. The B block is pretty, sparse when it comes to opponents you could really put on a great match with. And I think when he got the opportunity with people like Taichi and Tanahashi, he looked great again. And it's a little exciting that this spruced up again Okada is going to have Cobb next and then either Ibushi or Kenta. I am kind of excited to see that. And that is the only interesting observation I have about the B block. Can't wait for it to be over.
So there you go. Okay, so before we wrap this up, I'm going to give my top 10 G1 matches heading into the final 2 nights, or final 3 nights, of course, since there's also the overall finals on a week from today, the 21st in the Nippon Budokan. So do you have your top 10 prepared?
Yes, but I didn't write the nights that. Yeah, I'll try and find them as I go or remember them.
Okay. So 10th place for me, I have I will say 10 through 2, all 4 1/4. I have a lot of 4 1/4 star matches in this tournament. No 4 1/2 and 1 4 3/4, which is in first place. So 10 through 2, all 4 1/4. I'm not going to repeat myself every time. 10th place, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kota Ibushi, September 26th, night 5 in the A block. My 10th place match. The usual great match these two have with each other in G1 every year, it feels like. What do you have in 10th?
In 10th, I have Ibushi against Okan, which looks like it
Night 13.
Night 13, yes.
Because guess what? My 9th place match, Ibushi versus Okan.
Hell yeah.
October 9th, night 13. Also A block, of course. What do you have 9th?
9th, I have this is my last 3 3/4 match. I have Okada and Taichi from night 12.
That's on my list too, but much higher. 8th place, I have Jeff Cobb versus Taichi from October 4th, night 10 at 4 1/4. So that's one of only 3 B block matches on my list. The other 7 are all A block. What do you have 8th?
8th, I have Okada and Yoshihashi, 4 stars flat.
I didn't like that anywhere near that much.
Had a big soft spot for Yoshihashi. I gave him some big stars.
7th place, Tomohiro Ishii versus Zack Sabre Jr. from October 3rd, night 9. These two again. Another pairing that always results in awesome matches, and it did here again for me. What do you have in 7th place?
7th, I have Okada and Tanahashi from night 2. I think that was.
Yes, night 2, because that is my 6th place match. Oh, yeah. Okada versus Tanahashi. You're good at naming matches right before I name them. That is, Okada Tanahashi from night 2 in the B block, September 19th. What do you have? 6.
My 6th is Okan against Ishii from a night that was fairly recent.
Yeah, I had that 4.25 too. It just missed my top 10. So I think it was night. I want to say night 13, right? Because this was
13 is
maybe either
Okan
13 or 11.
Ibushi.
No, it was night 11. Night 11.
Yeah.
Night 11. So there you go. 5th place, starting the top 5 here. I have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shingo Takagi from September 23rd, night 3. That was a match some people had even higher than I did. I thought it was awesome. What do you have in 5th?
You know, it's weird. That Zack Shingo match, I don't remember. And I gave it a high score. That's why I took it off my list. I don't remember anything from it. I think I just lost it in the sea of G1 matches in my brain. My number 5 is 5 we're up to?
Yeah.
Koda against Shingo at 4.25 from...
Guess what? Night 9, because I have Koda and Shingo October 3rd, night 9 in 4th place. So a match I loved it. My guest did not love it at the time. I remember that. So I was on an island there, but you and I loved it apparently. So
loved it.
What do you have in 4th place?
4th place, I have Shingo and Ishii, which I liked a lot, but not as much as the rest of the world seemed to. From night 1.
Okay, so yeah, that's coming up towards the end of my list. 3rd place, I have Okada versus Taichi, October 8th, night 12. One of the few matches this tournament where I was like really on the edge of my seat rooting for somebody. Just really rooting. I am very invested in Taichi beating Okada clean. I hope it happens someday, even if it's only with the Gato clutch. What do you have 3rd place?
My 3rd place, I might be higher than everyone on. I loved this match. Zack against Kenta is my 3rd place match.
I think I gave it 4 stars flat.
I gave that 4.25. I thought that was off the top of my head like the 3rd best Kenta match since he came to New Japan. I could be forgetting something, but I loved that match. Super high intensity. Thought it didn't look like the rest of Zack's matches, and definitely didn't look like the rest of Kenta's matches.
2nd place, I have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tetsuya Naito. Of course, I have Naito's only G1 match this high, but I love their matches, and that's from September 18th, night 1. My last 4.25 star match, like I said, but almost went 4.5 on this. They've never had anything close to even an average match for me. I love their matches so much.
Oh, I forgot about that match. Let's retroactively bump Ibushi and Okan off my list and put that one on. That match was really good. My number 2 is Cobb against Taichi. I thought that match was killer. I thought it was one of the most... That's like what I thought the G1 was going to be like. I thought all the matches were going to be like Cobb and Taichi.
I had that 8th, so yeah, it was in my list. And the number 1, I have Shingo Takagi versus Tomohiro Ishii. My 4.75 star match. I just thought these two made magic back on night 1, and nothing else in this tournament has come even close for me.
Yeah, I get that. Part of me thinks I should go back and watch that again, the way people have talked about it. My number 1 is Shingo against Okan. I haven't been that invested in another match in the tournament. You can rewind and listen to me ramble about it. Yeah. I could have gone 5 more minutes on it. That
was from night 15, obviously, since we talked about it here.
Right. Yeah. That's my 4 1/3 match.
So there you go. There's our top 10 G1 matches after night 16. We'll see if anything from the final 3 can get into my top 10 list, and we'll give the final list over on the Patreon, patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. All right, John, give me some plugs here. Gonna wrap this bad boy up so I can watch my LA Kings in their opening match here.
All right, game. Let's do it. I play in a band called Timeshares that since last time I was on this podcast has put out new music. We have an EP called In the Ground that's on Spotify. I also play guitar for an individual named Maxwell Stern, who put out an EP that I play on, and I don't remember what it's called, but I gave you his name, so run with it.
Google it.
Yeah, just Google it, asshole. And I'm on Twitter at old Jon Hernandez, and I write stuff for Voices of Wrestling when the spirit moves me.
Yeah, I guess I do too, which apparently is never nowadays because I never actually write anything.
I jumped on a Noah review.
Work. What'd you say?
I said I jumped on a Noah review, so they don't get rid of my parking spot.
There you go. Well, I have the podcast. I can't get rid of my parking spot. So, all right, folks. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Wrestle Omakase. Wrestling would not fit. Next week, we'll be back here on the Patreon. So not here. We'll be on the Patreon to talk about the final 2 nights of the G1, wrap up the whole tournament. I will give my show rankings. Oh, yeah. Rank the shows by average star rating. The average star rating rankings for every wrestler. All that nerd stuff. That will be on the final show on the Patreon. So patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. Only $5. So definitely check that out. If you're a freeloader, doesn't want to pay me, the next time you hear me will not be for quite a while because after that Thursday, October 21st show, I'm taking 10 days off from doing a full episode. I'm giving myself a break after the G1. So, basically we'll be back. The next time on the free fee will be 2 weeks from Sunday. So Halloween, October 31st, I'll be recording a WCW Halloween Havoc Retro Roulette 2 with Matt Francis. We'll get 5 or 6 different random Retro Roulette or random Halloween Havoc matches that we got last year. So that'll be a good time going through some old WCW completely random. But yeah, that'll be our next free episode. So not for quite a while. So if you want to hear me until then, you got to pay me $5. Patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. In the meantime, thank you as always for listening, and I will see you next time.
Kent State really does care about its students, and I think that if a student wants to feel supported throughout their time here and feel like they have someone to go to for help or for advice or just to talk, Kent State is the place for that.